Good afternoon, and welcome to the first committee meeting for Growth and Infrastructure for the 81st legislative session. We're going to start with our roll call, and will the secretary please call the roll?
Assemblyman Ellison?
Present.
Assemblyman Levitt?
Here.
Assemblyman Miller?
Here.
Assemblywoman Peters?
Here.
Assemblyman Roberts?
Here.
Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong? Assemblyman Watts?
Here.
Assemblyman Wheeler?
Here.
Assemblyman Yeager?
Here.
Chairman Moreno?
I am here. And I know that Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong was having a little bit of difficulty. We will mark her present when she re-arrives, and I will let our secretary know, because in this virtual world, she may not be able to see everyone that's actually in the room. So I will inform you as soon as she arrives. So again, welcome to our committee. It's our first one, and it's going to be a wonderful year in growth and infrastructure. There are, in this virtual world, there'll be a few things that will be different. We're not together in the committee room, which is probably a good thing, because we're always right on top of each other in our committee room. But this is an opportunity that we've had unlike any other time. Because we're virtually, people would have to, during a regular session, either fly up to Carson City to testify, or go to Grant Sawyer to testify, or some other remote location. Being that we have so many opportunities to be involved in a virtual meeting, we'll have that opportunity for so many people who could not participate before, have an opportunity, whether they're in our state or outside of our state. So it actually gives more opportunity for people to be involved in the process. So we're going to have some introductions, but before we have the introductions and our agenda items, I want to briefly explain all those virtual workings of the meeting. As you all know, the legislative building is currently closed to the public. And so all of our committee meetings for now will be held virtually, meaning our committee members, our staff, everyone else will be participating either through Zoom or by telephone. The committee manager and our LCB staff will be assisting bill presenters and others wishing to testify on how to sign up for remote testimony and submit written materials. In addition, people wanting to testify or present public comment will have the option to call in or submit written testimony or comments. For public comment, the committee will set aside a time at the end of the meeting for people to call in. All materials submitted for a meeting will be posted on the committee's page on the legislature's website. The meeting can be viewed through our streaming service or the legislature's YouTube channel, both of which can be accessed on the legislature's website. If you have missed a meeting and would like to know what happened, all the committee meetings are recorded and posted on the legislature's website, usually by the next day. And I say usually, as we go through this process, there may be a few hiccups. So if it's 2 days, don't shoot us for it. Going forward, anyone who would like to receive an electronic notification of the committee's agendas and minutes can do so by signing up on the Nevada Legislature's website, or by contacting the committee manager via email at asm.gi@asm.state.nv.us. I know that's a lot of information, so please don't hesitate to contact the committee staff if you have any questions, or me if you need any help. So with that, we'll go on to our introductions. I am Assemblywoman Danielle Monroe Moreno, and it is my honor and my privilege to return as the chair of this committee for the 2021 session. Last session was the first session we changed from the title of this committee from transportation to growth and infrastructure. And I believe it says more about what we do. This committee handles issues that deals with our transportation, energy, and the infrastructure of our state. So I'd like to welcome you all. I'm so excited to see a number of returning faces. Excited to work with my vice chair, Assemblyman Watts. I had Assemblyman Yeager as my vice chair last year. I hope I wasn't too hard on him and he didn't want to come back as vice chair this year. But also so happy to see all of our freshman legislators join us. This is a fun committee. We have some interesting hearings that we will have. But we will have fun. And the goal, when I think about this committee, when it says infrastructure, is we're building the state for tomorrow and working hand in hand with revenue and commerce and labor and everything else. But we're the nuts and bolts of the state. So with that, I'd like for each one of my members to introduce themselves. And we're going to start with my vice chair, but I just want to let our secretary know that Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong is back in the meeting. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our vice chair.
Great. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. And it's an honor to be back on Growth and Infrastructure for the 81st session. I'm Howard Watts. I represent District 15 in the Assembly, which covers central eastern portion of Las Vegas. I had the honor of serving on this committee in my first term last session, and I'm happy to be returning as vice chair.
Thank you. Assemblywoman Peters.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Assemblywoman Sarah Peters, and I represent District 24 up in Reno, which is the heart of Reno, including the university, Midtown, downtown, and some of our more urban residential. I'm really excited. This is my first time serving on this committee. My background's in environmental engineering, though, so I'm hoping that cross-section helps with some of the policy discussions, and I'm really looking forward to a robust conversation this session. Thank you.
Thank you. Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong.
Good morning, or afternoon, I should say. My name is Chandra Summers Armstrong, Assemblywoman for Nevada Assembly District 6. I am truly honored to be on this committee. I am excited about the work that we're going to do building the infrastructure or trying to help direct the future of the infrastructure for the state. And I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Assemblyman Steve Yeager.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and congratulations on being named chair again. I'm Steve Yeager. I represent Assembly District 9, which is in Southwest Las Vegas. This is my third session in the legislature and my second session on this committee. As the chair mentioned, I was honored last session to serve as the vice chair, but handing that over to Assemblyman Watts, who I know is going to do a fantastic job. And I just think this is a really interesting committee to, blend transportation, infrastructure, energy, just a lot of really important issues to Nevada, not just today, but for really generations to come. So it's an honor to be on the committee again, and I'm looking forward to the hard work ahead of us.
Thank you. Assemblyman Ellenson.
Thank you. This will be my second time on growth and infrastructure, and I look forward to it. I sit on transportation before they went to growth and infrastructure. So it does blend, and I'm glad that the past vice chair said that. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and we look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Assemblyman Levitt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Glenn Levitt, Assembly District 23, the southern tip of the state. I served on this committee last session and really was thankful to be on it and appreciate the chair for all she does, and just look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you. Assemblyman Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Tom Roberts from Assembly District 13 in Northwest Las Vegas in the southern part of the state. I was a freshman last session, and I was benefited from being on this committee before. I really enjoy the agenda and the topics that we work in, and I'm looking forward to doing that again under your leadership and the Vice Chair's leadership. And well, I think we'll have a good session.
Thank you. Assemblyman Wheeler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This will be my 5th session on this committee when you include transportation, and I was chairman of the committee in 2015. So happy to be back on here again. Got a little bit of institutional knowledge going on this one. So thank you very much for having me back.
Thank you. And the last one I have is Assemblyman Miller.
Thank you. I'm Cameron, C.H. Miller from Assembly District 7, which is in the southern part of the state, but the northern part of the Las Vegas Valley, right on the border of Las Vegas and North Las Vegas. I ran for Nevada's future was my campaign slogan, and you can't talk about the future without talking about the foundation, which is growth and infrastructure. So I'm excited to be a part of this committee to learn so much about how our state operates. So I am, thank you.
Thank you. So as you know, there is one other position on our committee, and right now that is vacant, but I'm happy to say that this morning, the Clark County Board of Commissioners met and they filled the vacancy for Assembly District 42. And this individual will be introduced in a future meeting as the 11th member of our committee. So with that, we will move on to the introduction of our committee staff, and we have an awesome staff. Our committee policy analyst is Ms. Katie Simone, and she will be assisting me and the committee with background and research on bills and other issues, along with helping the committee manager in setting up meetings. Katie, if you are on, if you can say hi so everyone can see you.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Chairwoman Moreno. My name is Katie Seaman. I am the Committee Policy Analyst for Assembly Growth and Infrastructure. Very pleased to be working with you this session.
Thank you. And it's great to have you. For those of you that were with me last session, I was able to get our legal counsel back. I kind of begged and it worked. So our legal counsel for this committee will be Ms. Jessica Dummer. She was with us last session. She will be providing legal advice and working with the committee on amendments and other legal matters. Jessica, if you're on, could you say hi to the committee?
Hi, good afternoon. So like the chair said, this will be my second time as committee counsel for growth and infrastructure. So glad to be back.
Thank you. Last legislative session, my attaché had to double as the committee manager. We were able to give her a break this time, and we have Devin joining us as committee manager. She will be preparing agendas, uploading exhibits to Nellis, and working alongside with the front desk and the Secretary of State. Devin, are you on? Say hi to the committee.
Hello, I don't know if you can hear me, but hello, I am Devin Kajat. I am the committee manager for growth and infrastructure. This session, my first session as a committee manager, my second session here at the legislature, and I am thrilled to be here to help all of you out in any way that I can. Thank you.
Thank you. And we will have two secretaries for our committee as we did last session. And again, they're both coming back to work with us again, and they're awesome. We have Lori and Joan. Only one will be with us each day. They will be attending our meetings, preparing minutes, and assisting with a variety of tasks as they come up. And I am not sure if in this virtual world, if our committee secretaries have the ability or the technology to say hello, but if they can, please say hello. But if you have not met them, please, throughout this session, get a chance to meet them in person. They are amazing ladies. So on behalf of the committee, I want to thank our IT and our broadcast production staff. They are critical in making our virtual meetings go smoothly. They've worked extremely hard over the interim, and coming into this legislative session, not being able to open our doors, they have been working overtime, early mornings, late at night. I am nowhere near an IT expert, and they have been extremely patient with me and with other committee chairs. So I just want to thank you now. If I don't get a chance to thank you again, although I probably will a number of times, thank you for all that you're doing. So unfortunately, our secretaries will not be able to get on. So if you get a chance, stop by and say hello. And that takes us on to our committee rules. Want to make today just a short meeting for us to get to know each other and vote in our rules. So we'll move on to committee policies. For the first order of business, we'll review and approve our committee policies. Members, you should have access to it. It should have been in your email. If not, it is on Nellis. You can look it over. I'd like to highlight just a few things. The expectations for this committee members will be, I expect us to be courteous at all times to each other. If you were on this committee last session, there were a few times that sometimes the public were not as gracious as they should be to members. And I feel like a mama bear and protecting my kids. So I will step in if that happens. We're here to get the job done of the families and people of Nevada, and we need to do it in a professional and respectful atmosphere. So I expect that of each other, but I also expect that of the community working with us. We'll be requiring everyone to submit their exhibits in an electronic format as early as possible. Due to the extra work involved in posting accessible exhibits on the internet, the absolute deadline for submissions is 12 p.m. or noon the day before our meeting. And to ensure accurate recordings during a roll call vote for virtual meetings, when you answer, if you were involved in any of the interim committee meetings, when we take a roll call vote, instead of saying yay or nay, because sometimes that's hard to understand, just say yes or no. And I'm also going to ask that each time you speak, that you say your name. If I don't say your name for the secretary, and I may forget, if you will please say your name before speaking. We ask that of everyone presenting, but in this virtual setting that we're having, it's sometimes hard for the secretary to know by voice who's speaking. So it's incumbent of us to help her with the record keeping by us saying our name before we ask a question or make a comment, just to make things a lot easier. So are there any questions on our committee policies? Okay.
Madam Chair, this is Assemblyman Watts. I'd like to make a motion to approve the committee policies as presented.
Thank you for that, Vice Chair. Can I get a second?
Second.
And who said that?
I'll second.
Assemblyman Wheeler? Yes. Assemblyman Wheeler is seconding the motion. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none. All in favor, say yes.
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 Are there any opposed? If you oppose, you'll say no. All right, the motion carries. So just a few housekeeping things. In addition to our committee policies, I'd like to go over just a little reminders. Our committee starts at 1:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'd like to stay as close to that 1:30 as possible. Not 1:30 legislative time, but really 1:30 on the clock. If you're going to be absent or late to a meeting, please let me, my attaché or committee staff know as soon as possible. And if you have to leave for a meeting or something, let us know that too. Because we're virtual, I'm going to ask that everyone keep their screens on, and especially in the beginning, so that we know that we have a quorum for our meetings. And finally, please remember to mute your mics when you're not speaking, so we won't have background noise. So that takes us up to the last item on our agenda, and that's a presentation of our committee brief, and that will be conducted by our policy analyst.
Thank you. I am just going to share my screen so that everybody can see the document. Again, just similar to our committee policies, this should be posted online on Nellis now for everybody to follow along. So with that, can everybody see the committee brief? I'm no longer able to see you.
I cannot see the brief.
Wonderful. So I would like to just go through this quickly. I promise to keep
Oh, no,
it
that was
short.
a no. We can't see the brief.
Oh, no.
Ms. Simon, this is Judy in broadcast. Do you have the brief? If you have your share screen going, go ahead and stop the share screen. Oh, now, okay, there you go.
Going.
You're good.
Just bear with me 1 second so I can make it full screen. Did that work?
Yeah. We can see it.
Wonderful. So I like to just review our committee brief with everybody. So again, this is on Nellis. Our introduction to our committee staff, I would just like to highlight one individual who is very important to the work of the committee, but was not able to join us today, and that is Lisa Gardner. She's our research policy assistant in the research division with LCB, and she is equally indispensable to the committee's work as the rest of us. So here is, again, a written introduction to us. The committee jurisdiction will be over topics related to, of course, transportation and energy, but also energy assistance, driver's licenses, motor vehicles broadly, special license plates, taxi cabs and tow cars, traffic laws, and of course, public utilities. During our last session, the Committee on Growth and Infrastructure received 69 measures that were referred to the committee. Of those measures, the committee approved 55 bills. 52 bills were reported to Governor Steve Sisolak. One bill, which was Senate Bill 496, was vetoed during the preceding session and was not overridden. So I've produced a table there that breaks down the figures of the bills from last session by their house of origin. During the 2019 legislative session, the committee passed Senate Joint Resolution 7, which expressed support for finding innovative transportation solutions in the Lake Tahoe Basin and for the efforts of the Bi-State Working Group on Transportation. For further information, the LCB's summary of legislation for the 2019 session is linked there. And as well, hard copies may be requested from our publications unit, and there's contact information there for that. For the 2021 legislative session, we anticipate topics along the same lines as the committee jurisdiction, so driver licensing, vehicle registration and enforcement, motor vehicles and motor carriers broadly, public safety, public utilities, and public works projects. But I would also like to highlight in there is the state climate strategy, and that document is hyperlinked for your convenience and review. And also we will likely hear measures regarding transportation technology, accessibility, and of course funding. On to our pre-filed bills, and even though I did compile this list on January the 29th, I did review it this morning and this information is current. So the Assembly Committee on Growth and Infrastructure has received the 6 pre-filed bills listed below. The Senate Committee on Growth and Infrastructure has received the 7 listed below. And of course, those are hyperlinked for your convenience and review. In addition to pre-filed legislation, there are several reports regarding transportation and energy issues that will be presented or made available to the committee or to the legislature broadly during the 2021 session. So the section below summarizes those reports. The first is the Legislative Commission on Special License Plates that is pursuant to Nevada Revised Statutes 482.367004. The commission did make several recommendations for the drafting of 4 measures for this upcoming session. Specifically, those measures would complete the following actions: revising provisions governing punitive actions concerning special license plates, requiring an organization to submit artwork for a special license plate, requiring the Department of Motor Vehicles, to determine alphanumeric sequencing on special license plates, and finally, to abolish the Commission on Special License Plates. In addition, we have measures requested from the Legislative Commission on Energy pursuant to Nevada Revised Statutes 218E.085. I have linked a copy of the committee's final reports in both sections. Specific to the Legislative Commission on Energy, they have requested the drafting of 2 measures. One would require Nevada's Department of Transportation to establish a working group to study certain issues related to transportation. The second would amend the Nevada Constitution to revise provisions limiting the use of vehicle fees and fuel taxes. Moving on to reports that we may expect to see from the executive branch and other agencies and boards. I have linked a copy of the annual status of energy report, which is produced by the Office of Energy within the Office of the Governor. So the most current there is 2020. Additionally, I have included Electrifying Nevada's 21st Century Transportation System, which was also a report that was released by the Governor's Office of Energy in January 2019, but contains a lot of information that I believe would be very pertinent to this session of legislature. I have an extensive list there of a number of statutorily mandated reports that we should expect to see from Nevada's Department of Transportation. These reports are generally available in the LCB's research library and concern and include information on issues that may come before our committee as well. So in the list below, there is a chart that outlines the responsible entity, the statutory reference that is informing the creation of the report's scope, and when we may expect to see the report. On the last page, the Research Division Publications Unit, we oftentimes prepare policy papers on current hot topics or topics that are receiving quite a bit of discussion from a policy standpoint. These publications are openly available on the legislature's website, linked there for convenience. including those that are related to topics within the jurisdiction of the committee, such as transportation and energy, mainly. Paper copies are always available upon request. Please don't hesitate, and I would be happy to get you paper copies if needed. And in conclusion, the mission of the Research Division is to serve the Nevada Legislature and its standing and interim committees in a professional and nonpartisan manner. We seek to provide useful, accurate, and timely information concerning public policy issues. We are available to provide the committee and its members with assistance on any issue related to matters before the committee. The division provides individual members of the legislature with information and assistance on a confidential basis on any topic. We are generally located in the Sedway office building in Carson City. Our contact information is there, but of course, with our remote session, email is probably the easiest way to get a hold of us. And that concludes the presentation of the committee brief, if there are any questions.
Members, do you have any questions over that presentation? Okay, seeing none. Thank you so much for that. Over the next few meetings, the committee will have presentations from various government agencies, other organizations to learn more about their work in transportation, public works, and the energy sector. I would encourage you all to print up a copy of our policies so that you have it, and the presentation that Ms. Simone just presented, so you have that readily available. And please, again, feel free to reach out to any of us if you have any questions after this meeting. And like I said, I wanted to keep it short today, just for us to get to know each other and see who we are. And that will conclude our meeting for today. Our next meeting will be on Thursday, February 4th at 1:30, real time, not legislative time. We will enjoy a presentation from the State Climate Strategy along with the Assembly Committee on Natural Resources. So, seeing no questions. Oh, before I do that, let me go to public comment. I am so sorry, I forgot. Broadcast staff, do we have anyone in the queue for public comment?
Chair, the public comment line is open and working. However, there are no callers in the queue at this time.
Awesome, thank you. I'll try not to forget that. So with that, members, thank you so much. I am so looking forward to getting to know each other better as we work through this legislative session and moving some really impactful policies that will help to build the future of our state for generations to come. So this meeting is adjourned, and I will see you on Thursday.
Thank you, Madam Chair.